Right, hi guys. Hopefully this microphone position is okay. Let's move my camera over a bit. There we go. I've moved my microphone to a different place so when I type it doesn't bang on the microphone. Hopefully it's a little bit better this time. Here we got hi Andy, hi Stepz, hi Mr. G, Amok. Hopefully Stepz is asking what a sprite mask is. Yep, well, I'm going to explain that in a minute. We're going to do it using, well, I'm going to demonstrate in Last Ninja first. So it's a bit rushed this today, so hopefully this is all okay. Let me just detach everything from here. I've not been too well today, I've been off work, so I feel a little bit better now though, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, doesn't really matter which version of Last Ninja. So sprite masking is a way to effectively cut pieces out of a sprite. Either actually cut it out of the data here. So let's put this on a better view so we can see that one. There we go. Either to actually cut it out of the sprite by removing the data here, or by using other tricks to remove pieces. Now why would you want to do that? You might want to do that, well, in Last Ninja we do it because, or they do it, because they want the ninja to go behind certain parts of the scenery. I'm not sure how easy this is going to be to play on here, but and I'm going to have to fight people. Okay. I don't have anything to fight with. Get out of my way! I need to find somewhere where there is some masking. So here's a little piece here. So there's a rock here, and there's the sprite here. I can't actually see the sprites. Let me try and colour the sprite so you can see it. I have no idea which one it is, so let's guess that one. No, that's the border, of course. Oh, it's actually changing all the time. Alright, let's find where it's actually setting the sprite colour first, and then we can see what's going on. So for some reason I can't switch to any of the screens. Okay, let me reload the debugger. Something weird is going on here. I've actually lost control of it completely now. Yeah, I was a bit distracted by that chat as well. I think at some point I should probably touch on addressing mode to go back, because I realise it's a complicated topic if you're not used to assembly, so it might be worth kind of revisiting that at some point. Right, so I'm going to start by just making the ninja white, just so we can see, because unfortunately we can't change the background of the debugger, so I'm going to find where that code is. $690, okay, so seems to be a table of colours at 0250, so let's have a look there. And it looks like it's these ones here that are being read, so let's just start the game. Which one is it? Just need to find out where. Oh god, I'm really not having a good day today. Why won't it jump to it in here? Just keeps taking to the memory. Unfortunately, I think this has got more and more buggy as the time has gone on. The addressing modes are hard. I think what I might do then on one of my next streams is go through the addressing modes in a bit more detail, so you can understand what they're doing, because it isn't intuitive when you come from traditional languages, traditional kind of higher level languages, and you see how you can add numbers together and stuff in there. It doesn't make sense that you can't do the same thing in Kick Assembler, so I will go through that at some point. This should be setting the guide to white, but for some reason it's not. Just set all these values. There we go. Right, so I've got a little white ninja who I can no longer control. Damn it. Okay, so why can't I control now? All I'm doing is moving through this. Okay, I'll restart again. The stream is quiet. Okay, let me see, because as I say, I have changed the location of my microphone. It might be... Oh, my microphone is on full though. Let me move over a little bit. There we go. And hopefully I can hear alerts again. So I noticed I had some problems with my SteelSeries DAC thing. It's a bit knackered, I think. It doesn't quite work, so... Mic's fine, music's a bit low. Okay, let's pop the music up a little bit. There we go. Okay, let's start. Let's go and set these values in here. It's once I do that in there, I can't actually... I lose control, and the controls over here now. Ah, there we go. And it resets again. So the moment I start moving, it resets. Well, let's get it into position, and you can see the masking. Don't want to spend all day doing this. Yeah. Okay. So you can see there, I'm just behind the rock. But I'm in front of this rock up here, so you can't just set the sprite priority, because he would be behind this rock and behind this rock. It's all good. Okay. Soon we'll need a debugger for the debugger. Yeah. Okay, so let's go and have a look. So the sprites are in here. If I just set those values so we can actually see them. You can see his leg is being cut off down here. Let's try walking into this one here. You'll see masks even more. So at this point here, even more of his legs are being cut off. You can see there, they're being cut off. So in order to do that, what they've had to do here is they've had to take some of this data and cut it out of the sprite here. And this is quite a slow thing to do. I don't know if you can see actually on here, but there is a small bug with this system as well. where you can actually get it kind of overlaying by more than one pick, like not cutting off exactly. And let me see if I can find a position where I can show you that. Oh god, I'm not going to be able to do that. Maybe this wasn't the best one to do. Maybe I should have Last Ninja 2. You might be able to see it on this side. Let's try here. So it is possible. I don't know if you can see that there, but it is possible to not have it cut off precisely. It's out by 1 pixel. You kind of see it. Kind of hard to see, but the reason for this is because you can only turn the pixels on or off. You can't turn part of a pixel off because it's multicolor. The pixels are too wide. So if you move the character just one pixel, which you can with a sprite, then you either have to cut too much or too little of the sprite, and so you get a little bit of overlap. It's kind of hard to see, but there are some good examples of it online if you want to see bug in more detail. So in order to do this, what they're having to do is they're having to take a piece of data like let's probably save this as something. Start by saying because we are going to write something here. So a multicolor sprite will look something like this, and there'll be 63 of these, and these represent the different colors. And then there'll be some background pieces which will look kind of the same, with a few different colors, like so. And what they need to do is they need to cut this chunk out of here, so the end result will be like that, meaning these 2 center pixels get masked because these are set and these get left alone. But in order to do that with multicolor, you have to do some trickery first. So you have to take this value and you have to switch all the bits around in pairs like so, and then you have to all them both together. So this or this gives you this, and then you can use this value as a mask for this one. So you do an exclusive OR on this, which inverts it, which gives you that, and then you can AND these 2 together, which will leave you with this with the piece cut out. But as you can tell, that's quite slow. So what we're going to do tonight, we're going to look at a method called cookie cutter, which, hang on, let me turn this off. Oh, it's the SID music I can hear. So we're going to look at a technique called cookie cutter, and what this allows you to do is do that cutting out of one sprite without having to do all that individual bit twiddling for each individual pixel within the sprite. Yeah, EOR with FF, exactly, yeah. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start by just creating some basic characters that we can use. I'm going to do it with a tile system. No, actually, no, I'm not, because I don't want to. I just want to copy the screen into memory. So we'll keep a screen like this. We'll make the background black. Just like some multicolors. Let's go for shades of grey. Makes it nice and easy to work with. And the chart color can be, doesn't really matter, just anything. And then we need to create. So what I'm going to try and create is an area where we want a player to be. In fact, I'll tell you what, I've already got. I think somewhere. I think I've got this. I don't have the project file. I do have some stuff though. Okay. Did I do it as bitmap? Looks like I did. Let me import this. Cool, go some Goblins music. Missed that a mile off. You have to bear with me if I'm a bit slow today, I'm really struggling. Okay, that doesn't quite look right for some reason. Just try and import some other bits from that. I feel like that's not right. If this doesn't work, then I have to do that. See, that's not going to work, is it? I don't know what the hell that is, but it's not good enough. Let's create a new version. Hi Buzzley, welcome to the stream. Alright, let's try again. Alright, so we're just going to create some basic scenery that we can walk behind and walk in front of. Colours don't matter, the way it looks doesn't matter. We're just going to create something. Does that not let me draw? Draw into a high resolution character with a multicolour pen. Okay. It's that transparent character, so let's just do something like this. Doesn't really matter what it looks like as long as there's something. We'll fill it in with a char colour. And what we'll do is we'll place these onto the screen somewhere, and then I'll demonstrate what happens if you just try and use sprite priority to do this, and why it becomes a problem. I'm trying too hard to make it look like something I really probably shouldn't. Okay, that'll do. So if I place this on the map, let's say I put it here, and we put one here as well. Okay, very, very, very simple. So let's export that now, and then put it into the project. How's everybody doing today, by the way? I feel so rough, it's really not good. Okay, this is Charles. But yeah, Hayes, I think at some point, maybe on my next Thursday stream, actually, I'll go through. That's the sin. On the next Thursday stream, I'll go through addressing those. I think it's probably good to do. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them in. Maybe drop them in the stream details channel, and we can try and cover as many of those questions as possible. But I'll go through each of the addressing modes. I'll show you how they work, what you can and can't do with them, and hopefully that will give people a better idea of how to do these things. Okay, so we're just going to do a very simple screen and a very simple character set. So I'm going to load the characters into here. Oh wow, Ron was such a good tune. What did I call it, Charles? Just open up here so I can actually see it. Yeah, Charles bit, okay. And I'll put the map hat. I swear I don't have to actually draw the map again. I copy it from anywhere. Okay, so we're going to set background and border to black. And we're going to select the correct bank. Oops. I've switched to using Brave browser as well. It seems to be a lot better. What do I want? My memory address is okay, so we need 100 for character memory in the bottom. So 100 like so. And the top half is 1010. Okay, 1010. There we go. Okay, and if I just run that now, hopefully we should at least see something. We probably need to set the colours of how that was. Okay, so we've got something, just need the colours. So just going to do that by loading in a colour. Actually, something else that came up in the chat, and just in case people don't know, if you want multicolour, then the character colour has to be over 8. If you pick a number from 0 to 7, it's going to display that character in high-res mode. If you need it in multicolour mode, you have to pick a colour and then add 8 to it. So get a number from 8 to 15. You can still only use the first 8 colours, but you have to add 8 in order to see the multicolour mode. Another thing I was thinking of doing soon as well is converting a game from disc to cartridge, and show you guys how to do that with a multi-load game, that is. Or maybe we'll start with a single load game. I'll show you how to create the headers for the cartridge, and then show you how to convert a game from disc load to multi-load on a cartridge instead. So Brave uses a Chrome engine. Yeah, I mean, I've actually switched to Brave at work as well, so I do a lot of work in JavaScript, and I usually use Chrome as my test bed for that, but I can actually use Brave in the same way because they keep it up to date with the latest version of Chrome, so the latest version of Chromium, sorry. Okay, so it's been really good. Why am I not seeing the correct colours? Oh. Oh, actually, that's fine. Should be that. There we go. Why am I not seeing the right colours here at all? Think about this. What am I doing wrong here? I'm having a bit of a nightmare. Is Brave faster than Chrome? It is basically Chrome. It is slightly faster at loading pages because it does it does kind of block adverts and blocks things that trackings and things, tracking cookies and stuff. So it will be a little bit faster. You set all the multicolours. Well, it shouldn't matter at the moment. We're not seeing multicolour at all. We're just seeing. I mean, if I set that to A, we should see kind of red coloured things. I think I'm just doing some. Oh. What? Oh, because I've not set multicolour mode. That's why. Yeah, it is basically Chrome without the crap. Yeah, so this is what I mean. I'm not I'm not with it at all. I'm completely forgetting to set multicolour mode. So multicolour mode is on D016, I believe. Yes, D016. There we go, and it's bit 4. So we need to take D016 and set bit 4 of it, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Yeah. There we go. Right, now we can set the colours. So we set our background. We've got a background colour here, so we'll set 0 B. Let's just switch those two colours around. Cool. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a sprite to the page, and we're just going to add some simple joystick control to move it around. I'm not going to bother with the MSB over this side, so it's just going to wrap around the values here and here. I just need something in fairly quickly to make this work. So let's create a loop here, which is where we're going to jump back to. And let's set a sprite up as well. So we need to create a little sprite, so I'm just going to create a little crappy sprite now. We're going to need 2 sprites. I'll explain why we need 2 soon, but for now I'm just, well actually I'm going to put 4 in because we might show some other stuff as well. And let's just create, well, it needs to be something that fits between these, so let's give it actually let's give it a black outline, and let's change the background colour to like a light blue so we can see these things working. Okay, so really don't care what it is, so I'm just going to draw a big old ball, well, egg. So there we go. Put a bit of shade in it so we can actually see something. That'll do. I don't really care what this looks like. Okay, so I'm going to export that to file. Nice big old balls there. Thanks for the bits, Craigus. Oh no, hey, what? Why did it say Craigus? It said something weird. Oh, hang on, that's the name of the Oh, you confused me with the emotes, Hayes. Thank you for the bits, Hayes. See, not well, not well. I've got excuses. So I'm going to round this off a little bit. It looks a bit annoying. Yeah, the past 2 nights or so, I've just not felt well, and I've not slept all night as well. So I just had to take today off to actually catch up on some sleep and keep awake. Be able to keep awake for tomorrow. Right, there we go. Right, so let's import those sprites down here. Okay, so we've got one sprite and that's at our location. Let's set some variables up here. So O3 F8. There we go, right. So our new sprite is this number, and we'll store that at sprite pointers is 0 for sprite 0. You don't need to add this in here, but I always like to, I say this all the time, anytime you're addressing something that could have multiple offsets like this, I like to just include the 0, so it's obvious that you're actually using it. Let's turn that sprite on as well. So this is the sprite enable register, and let's set a default position for it just in the middle of the screen somewhere. Hopefully we should see that. Cool. So we need to set sprite multicolor mode, which is D01C. So install that there. And we can set some colors as well. So D027 is our main color for the sprite, and I'm just going to look up now what the, I can never remember which. I think it's 2526. Yeah, 2526. There we go. So and I'm going to change the background to be a light blue just so that the black lines stand out. Yeah, thanks, Hayes. I'm sure I'll be fine in the morning. I just needed some sleep, as my stomach was playing up for 2 days and just kept me awake all night. So there we go, we've got a sprite there. I'm going to add some quick joystick control in just to make this move around the screen. This loop is going to run constantly, so I'm just going to put a quick check in. For a raster line, just to slow it down, so this only happens once per frame. Actually, I could just do. There we go. Right, so joystick control. So I'm going to take the value in DC00. I'm going to store it in the 0 page. I'm going to store it. We're not cancelling anything out here, so I'm just going to use one of the high 0 page addresses. So I'm going to use, I think FC is free at this point, so we'll see in a minute. The reason I do this is so if I have to read this more than once, I'm just reading it from the 0 page rather than reading it from an address here. I don't know why I did that. There we go. Right, so actually I put some labels in for So we've got up, down, left, right, that's all we need. How's the sound with the keys, by the way? Hopefully it's not banging quite as much as it was last time. No, this is stomach related. It's the same thing that I had to go to hospital for last year, so it just flares up now and again. New keyboard. No, I moved the microphone off the desk. So previously I had the microphone attached to the same desk that the keyboard's on. So it was picking up every vibration. So you think this? I just changed my keyboard at work because I got a new PC laptop, and my for some reason my Microsoft keyboard broke at work, so I just ordered myself one rather than wait for the crap that they're going to give me. So I bought myself a cheap mechanical keyboard, but I didn't check what switches it came with, and it came with blue switches. It is the noisiest thing ever. I must annoy everybody around me. I bought some tiny little rubber what do you call them, dampers, like damper rings, and that's kind of helped a bit, but it's still really noisy. No, I got a really good laptop actually. My Mac couldn't do anything anymore, and the Macs that they were pushing on new start, like the new Macs that they were giving people, I really didn't want one at all. So I just asked if I could have a Windows laptop, and they said spec one out, so I picked one with a nice graphics card in it, lots of money, and yeah, it is similar to a DAS keyboard actually. It's similar noise to it. It's ridiculous how loud it is. I'm sure I'm going to annoy everybody. Okay, so we've already got the value in the accumulator here, so we're going to AND it with up. Branch if not equal, not up. Sorry, branch if equal. Yeah, branch if not equal, not up. So one thing to remember with the joystick is if you read the value in D0, DC00, it will look like this when nothing's happening on the joystick, and that's because this is the up, down, left, right, fire. But they're on 1 when they're not being pressed. So the line's held high when the joystick's not being pressed. When you press a direction on the joystick, that direction goes to 0. So it's a little bit counterintuitive. You have to kind of do it backwards. There's a mechanical keyboard kickstart for MacBook Pros. Just don't forget to remove it when you close your MacBook. Okay, so for this reason we need to check if the value is 0. So if it's not 0, we go to here. So if it is 0, we go here, and I'm literally just gonna do the simplest thing possible to get this to work. And then I'm just gonna copy this routine and just make some slight changes. Right. So if we're going left, then we're decreasing this value. Let's say I'm not going to care about the MSB at this point. It's irrelevant. It just adds some complexity to it that we don't really need to demonstrate this. Okay, I think that should be it. Yeah, there we go. We've got control. Is the screen RAM the same as color RAM, as in 14 columns per row, 25 rows? Yeah, it is. It's 1-to-1. Which is handy. that it is like that. It means you can quite easily use routines that will map a character to a screen and then immediately grab its colour and map its colour without having to do any extra calculation. You can use the same indexes and stuff, which you do see quite often when you're setting things up. So you can see here I've got a sprite now, and I can move this sprite and it appears in front of there. Now the Vic does have a register that allows you to change the way this behaves. Let me find the register. Still getting used to the Brave icon, still looking for Chrome all the time. It is D01B, and you can see here it says the sprite is drawn in front of screen contents if it's 0 and behind if it's a 1. So let's set that to... Oh, cheers! Hi, cheers, welcome to the stream. How's it going? And welcome everyone who's come along with Cheers. I am calling you Cheers, so I'm not going to call you Chip or Chris or Kiss. I will call you Cheers. How'd it go with, what were you playing tonight? Were you playing the Caveman Olympics again? Was it Caveman Olympics? More importantly, did you play any Luna? Why is this not working? Thanks for the host, Andy. Oh god, I broke my little inhaler thing, which is good. Oh, not having a good day. Try again. No. No, it's not having it. Right, fair enough. I just have to make do with my hourly nicotine rather than some in between. Both my bot followers can see. Okay, so we're already enabling the sprite, we're enabling its multicolour. Let's enable it to go behind the background, and let's show you the problems we have with the hardware sprite priorities. So you can see it does go behind, but can you see what's happening? It only goes behind certain colours, it doesn't go behind them all. So there's the first problem we've got when we're trying to do, trying to mask things with sprites. So in this position here, ideally if you imagine this is like a 3D landscape, and these are two rocks on the landscape, and we want to walk between them. All sorts of things are going wrong here. So for a start, it's going behind both of these pieces, where it should only be going behind the bottom one. Now we could fix that with a raster. So we could change that value in a raster halfway down the screen. Thank you for the follow, Remnant 2. Welcome to the stream. So much in the same way we've used rasters before to change the background colour, change the character set for HUD displays at the bottom. You can do the same with the sprite priority as well. So if we were to change the sprite priority from in front to behind here, we would see this go in front of this one, but behind this one. The problem is though, when it does go behind, we can still see through, and that's because actually sprite priority only works just use the Neil bait method and kill the play if any of those sprites touch. Yeah. The problem with the sprite priority is it only works for 2 of the colours. One of the colours you will always, well in fact you've got 4 colours. You've got the background colour, you've got 2 multicolours, and you've got your character colour. The sprite's always in front of the background colour, no matter what. It's a background, so it will be. But it also treats one of the multicolours like a background colour. And you will always, no matter how you set the sprite priority, it will always go in front of that. And that's used to great effect in some games. So if I show you, I'll tell you what, I can show you Creatures 2. on the snow level. There's got to be a video of it. Just go past it, there we go. So you can see how they've got that working here. There is a character up here, this big dude, and actually the guy over this side as well. Let's just make that bigger. The guy carrying this on this side, they are going behind. Their sprite priority is set to be behind the characters, so it is appearing behind this cloud cover here. But then they've also got a row of characters here, still in white, but it's been set as one of the background colours. It's been set as the multicolour which appears behind the sprites, and so you get this effect of the sprite kind of being in the middle of a cloud rather than directly behind it or directly in front of it. It's kind of partly inside it, partly outside it. So it's used to nice effect in many games. I mean, this is just one example of it. It's used in lots of games in different ways. I think, was it, what was the game where you're running through the jungle all the time? You run, it's like a, is it Predator? No, it's not Predator, is it? God, I can never remember. Oh, maybe it is Predator, yeah. So this either is using the raster. In fact, I think it might be using the raster. Looking at the way, see this pixel flickering here. I think they're using raster effects to do this. So just going to loop that bit. There's another game like this. It's not Predator though. I can't think of which one it was. Maybe Platoon. Let's have a look at, yeah, Platoon. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is this one. So I think they use the same technique here as well. So the ground and the bushes are just laid out in a way that you can see the bushes are only ever two colours and the ground is two colours as well, and that's because they're separating those two multicolours, and that's so that it will walk actually behind the bushes, and so you don't have to use sprite masking. So if we didn't use three colours in this, then we'd be fine, but because we're using all three colours, we can't just go behind it properly. So this is where sprite masking comes in. And thank you, Hayes, for figuring that one out. I knew it was something like that. I knew it was like an 80s film, classic 80s film. So how do we get around this? Well, this is where cookie cutter comes in. So what you can do is you can create another sprite, and you can tell this sprite to be behind the sprite that we're gonna place on the top here. So let me demonstrate that. So let's create another sprite, but this time I'm going to copy the look of one of these. So if I open up here, so I basically want something that's the same shape as this rock. So I'm just going to copy it kind of from, I'll do it from the top here. So let's go to the top. Okay, so 2, 3, 3, so So one way you could do masking is you could you could make these sprites now and again. So when you walked near them, they could turn into sprites. But then you're limited to what colour you can have in your sprites. They all have to be the same multicolour as your background, and that kind of limits things quite a lot. But instead, if you just make a mask like this, so this shape fits perfectly behind this, and you make that with the sprite colours, you can change the colour is, so this can be this colour, it can be whatever colour we want it to be. Let's export that data. Now the way sprites work, the first sprite is always on top of the next sprite and so on. So sprite 0 will be in front of sprite 1, sprite 1 will be in front of sprite 2, and so on. So let's actually change some things around here a little bit. So first of all, I'm just going to move these routines. So they move in sprite 2 instead of, well, sprite 1 instead of sprite 0. And then I'm going to change this to be sprite 1. This is our colour setup for that sprite. That's our global colour. And these are all the global settings. These are our default positions. Okay. Okay, that should look. No, not quite the same because I need to turn more sprites on. There we go. Hopefully this should just look the same and control the same. Cool, there we go. Right. Now I'm going to add this other sprite in. I recognise this music, Enduro Racer. Wow. God, I've not played Enduro Racer for years. I may have to play that at some point. Let's make the colour really obvious. Let's do a yellow on here. And let's set the position of this to... actually, let's just do the same. I will change these values at some point, but for now, let's just leave it like that. We want it to go behind, yep. So you can see now this sprite moves behind that one all the time. Now, the trick is when... Where's my colour wrong? There we go. When the Vic goes to draw those, what it does is it draws the first sprite, or it knows where the first sprite is being drawn, sorry. The order it draws them in is down to the raster coming down the screen. But when it goes to draw this second sprite here, it doesn't bother placing any of these pixels that are behind this sprite. Because why would it need to? It doesn't need to because it knows that this sprite is in front, so it doesn't need to draw any of the pixels under here. But that introduces a nice effect. So if we were to move, we'll move this over and just stick it behind this rock. So you should see these light grey areas turn to yellow as we move it behind. So just going to take a little bit of guesswork to get this right. I think that's kind of round about there, I think. I'm going to move that back 2 whole characters. I'm just going to get these correct and then... No, not bad. So the Y position was correct and need to nudge it over maybe about 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 8 pixels over. So there we go. You can see now that that's actually going behind that properly, but we're still behind this one here. So the cookie cutter technique is basically plays on a trick that's actually happening with the layering. So as I said, when that sprite is drawn, it basically takes ownership of those pixels, and when this sprite is drawn, the pixels that are behind this sprite never get drawn to the screen. So if we set that sprite to appear in front of the scenery, it's going to be in front of the scenery but behind the other sprite, and that other sprite is already behind the scenery, so you're basically tricking the Vic into cutting a chunk out of that sprite. I'm pre-warning, I've never done this before, so whether or not this works, I don't know, but this is apparently how the trick works, so let me just make sure I get my sprite registers right. Sprite D01B. Okay, so we want sprite 1 to be behind the scenery, but sprite 2 to be in front, so sprite 0 and 1, sorry, not 1 and 2. So we're just going to do that, and this is going to set, when we load it now, we're going behind that sprite. This sprite is behind the scenery, but I can go in front of that thing there, and if I do that, I've now got proper masking of that sprite, and that is cool. I'm pleased that that worked. That's the first time and it's worked. The other cool thing about doing it this way is that this sprite that you put behind the scenery, you only have to put it behind stuff where you actually are. So if you imagine, the only thing I care about at this point is anything whose sprite kind of base is lower than this. So I can just grab the data for this object here. I can either have a pre-made sprite which I stick behind it, or I can calculate it once as I approach it, stick it behind, and then once I leave the area I can remove it again. You probably only need one sprite because you only need to have the width of your sprite being covered, being masked, so you only ever need to create one sprite. And the cool thing is if you really wanted to, and you were clever about level design, you can use it to add extra colours. So you've got multicolor 1, multicolor 2, character color and background color, but here we've got multicolor 2, char color, and then a completely different color. So we can mix those colors in if we wanted to. I mean, let's not though, let's just set it to be basically invisible by setting the right color. Cool, there we go. You can see how you can use that to very, very easily make a mask. To mask out one part of the sprite while showing the other. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a quick cigarette break because this bloody thing doesn't work. Then when I come back, I'm going to show you how we can, well, hopefully I can do this. I've been thinking about it, I think it's definitely possible. We can use outlines, high-res outlines, which is quite a common thing now in games, to create an outline in front of the rock while we're behind it. So if you've seen Age of Empires, you've probably seen this effect. God, trying to find it in a video that's going to be difficult, but let's have a go. So when a unit goes behind, a unit that you've got selected goes behind a building, you will still see an outline for it. So even though it's masked, the outline for it appears. I don't think we're going to see it actually. The outline for it appears in front of the mask. There you go, you can see it there. You see the outline? So we're going to do something like that. We're not going to do a coloured outline, that's probably a little bit too much. But we can certainly make the black outline for whatever sprite we've got appear in front of the mask as well, which is again just down to clever kind of sprite kind of priority manipulation. But yeah, there you go, that's the basics of it. So right, I'm going to take 2 or 3 minutes, guys. When I come back, we'll change this sprite up a little bit. We'll add some different detail to it. We'll probably change the black into a colour in the middle, so we can have more colours in the middle, and then we'll add a high-res outline to it. Okay, I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Never-ending story. Thought I could hear that. Cool. So we're going to add an outline to this thing now. So let's open up our sprite editor. I'm just going to copy that there for a second and overlay sprite, and then get rid of this black outline. And make the next sprite not multicolour. Oops. And now I can draw a much finer outline around it. I feel like this version of Never Ending Story could have been done less 1980s tune, if you know what I mean. I don't know who actually did this version. Just gonna draw kind of roughly the shape and then colour the other one in a bit. That's probably the better way of doing it. Like so. Thanks for the bits, Andy. Oh, hey, it's got char switch working. It's the same code as switching colours. Yeah, pretty much. Because the map is laid out the same, you just, instead of writing to colour RAM, you write to screen RAM instead. And I guess for the Game & Watch games, because you don't have collision in the same way, just store the replace char in the label to switch it back again. Yeah, you can do. I would probably create a list of all the characters that you need to change, what their locations are, and what they switch on and off to. So you've got a big long list of everything that you need to turn on and off. That's the wine fun top up, yes. So if you, I don't know how you are with indirect addressing, but you could use a list of the locations on screen, and then you could copy them into a 0-page address and use their indirect addressing to reference them. So you can just have one function that turns things on and off, and you just set it up, call the function, and it disables that character. You could even have it check, load the value that's there. If it's not blank, then set the character. If it is blank, then if it's not blank, then make it blank. If it is blank, turn the character back on. So you don't even have to, it's just a toggle then. Okay, so let's get rid of that one now. Oh, actually I should have... what have I done? I'm going to copy that to here and turn the overlay off. There we go. Get rid of that one, turn the overlay off. And now we can change this multicolour to something different, just something like that. Get a nice shiny egg, and you know what, I'm even going to dip with the edges here because there we go. Cool, right, export those sprites. So now we need this outline sprite to be on top of everything, so that needs to be behind this one as well, in front of this one as well. So we're going to shift everything down again. So we're going to move our main sprite down to sprite 2 instead instead of sprite 1. We're going to move the mask sprite to sprite 1 instead of sprite 0. And we need to change these values here, so we're enabling another sprite, so this now goes to 7. And the only one we want to go behind the scenery is our mask sprite. Everything else goes in front. I think I'll put a little thing here, so call this ball color mask. And our new overlay high res, and that will be black and it should be high res. So this sets the multicolor here. We don't want the first one to be multicolor, we want that to stay high res, so we just set the next two to high res instead. We need to store the initial position, and we need this to now affect 2 sprites. So this was really quick. I might have to think of something else to do as well in a minute, because this is probably going to work fairly rapidly. We need to change the colour. So we had black, we're going to change that to light green instead. There we go. Still goes in front, but now when we go behind, the outline stays in front, so you can see where you are behind something. So if you had a really big like house or something like that and you wanted to walk behind it, you can still see your outline as you walk behind it. I feel like we need to do some more, because that's taking an hour and 15 minutes to do. Maybe let's try making it bigger, and let's make the sprite update dynamically as well. So let's go into our character and let's create some new stuff in here. So actually, updating that sprite dynamic, is this going to work? Am I going to be able to do this in time? Let's give it a try. Let's just copy this piece around. And let's think about how we're going to do this. Okay, so we want to basically appear behind things that are below us more than. Let's say this is going to get tricky. Let's export the map and have a look. Right. So at the moment this is the only one we're masking, because this is the only place that a sprite is positioned. We're going to make it so that as we move around, if there is one of these blocks directly below us, then we'll move this sprite to that position. So let's try that. So how can we do that? Okay, so we can get our position on the screen quite easily, which will give us this position here. Then we would just need to check if Think. I bet there's beef here. So ideally what we would want to do is anything that's kind of between the base here. Would that work? With these shapes all the same, we could just move the sprite around, but what I want to do is actually change the data in that sprite to match what's underneath our current position. Tell you what, let's start by just moving it around. So let's work out where this sprite is on the screen and move this sprite to match. So this is where we're going to do update mask. Haze has got an emoticon for pretty much every scenario. Chinese beef with tomato, and then immediately Chinese beef and, well, a beef and tomato appears. A cow and a tomato. Okay, so let's grab our position. We can use the overlay, it's fine. Let's subtract the border and then divide by 8. This gives us our character position, X. So I'm actually going to turn off basic and kernel here now, so I can actually use more of the 0 page. So to turn off basic and kernel, we set the interrupt flag. First of all, we disable the CIA interrupts. And then we'll store 35 in 01 and clear the interrupts. Right, hopefully this will just work. I need to create char X in here. Everyone can do the tomato. I still don't know where a lot of these emotes come from. I'm actually looking. Oh no, they're my subscriber emotes. I only seem to be able to see. Ugh. Okay, whatever. Okay, so we've got our char X, and we need to do the same for char Y as well. So and this time we subtract 32. So we've got char X and we've got char Y. But that gives us that's going to give us the position in the top corner, which we're not interested in. What we're interested in is, are we behind anything down here? So we're kind of looking for anything that's non-zero in the bottom half of this sprite. Actually, the easiest way to do this would be to check all the positions from here down for this character, this top left character. So we can do that quite easily. So we create a little table, which is our screen rows. fill that with, first of all, the lower part of screen RAM plus 28 times I, so that's 40 in decimal. See table, yeah. Famous phrase, hopefully this will just work, yeah. So these are our lookup tables, and we're going to use them to, what we're going to try and do now is now check for the top corner of, I'm going to call it a rock, inverted commas, because it's not really a rock, and that is 0, 1. So we're looking for 0, 1. Actually, that's not going to work, is it? Because if you're here, you should be behind, but we've actually got. So we're looking for anything basically. Zero, 1 or 0, 2. Okay. Let's check for any non-zero value that's either side of the sprite or inside the sprite. So we're going to create another table called check locations. So what we're going to check 4 characters on 2 rows. So 0 is our top corner. We don't care about the top row at all, and the top row of the sprite is that. We don't care about those. What we care about is the next row down, which starts at 40, but we want 1 character to the side of it as well. Actually, we need 5, so like that. That's going to check 5 characters all the way in a row across, and then we'll check the next row as well. Okay, I think this. I'm kind of making this up as I go along, so hopefully this works. Okay, and then we need a lookup. Should be 0, so we'll call this we want load y, and then load oh, hi Sinlow, didn't see you join. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so that sets our screen lookup. Now we should just be able to do something like this. And that will give us the value in this location. Now, we need to loop through all of those locations. And first of all, we need to load the Y register with our check locations. X, there we go. We will increase X, we'll compare X to 10. It's not equal, we'll go back. And now, as soon as we find something here, so if that value is equal to 0, then we can skip, which is this bit here. Otherwise, we'll create a function here. We'll call it set mask. I'm just going to put that here. Set mask is going to actually remove set mask and then jump to complete. Right, taking some guesses here. So at this point here, accumulator is non-zero. So this has looked through the sprite and it's found a value. So in this case, the first value it's going to find is going to be this one here, and it is going to be 1. So if it's 1, we can just move the mask to that location. Y being our offset from here. God, this is not going to be easy. Okay, let's start by just trying to move the mask to that position. So we've got our char X and our char Y. So we'll for now we're just going to say if we're at that location. Sorry, if we've hit something, then we're just going to move the mask sprite to basically be exactly where our sprite is. So it's going to be in the wrong place, but we will have moved it. So we can check that the detection is working properly. So we now kind of need to do the opposite of what we've got here. Sorry, here. So I'm going to shift it to the right, and then we're going to add 18. Should be clear carry bit, yeah, it should be fine. And our mask is on this one here, so 002. Now we'll need to change these values a little bit before we do this times by 8 and add the value in, because we need to make it appear where the character was detected, not at the top. So I'm going to run this now. What we should see is a mask appear over our sprite, but not in the correct place, but it will be mapped to a character block, so it will jump kind of 8 pixels at a time as we move around, hopefully. Completely spitballing this as well. I've got no idea if this is going to work or not. Okay, we're not seeing anything here. Let me put a border increment here so we can just see if we actually hit that routine at all. Hi there, it's Becky. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, we're never hitting that routine at all, are we? Okay. Why we're not hitting that routine? So let's check a look at 0 page and make sure that those values are being set. So it's this and this is our 0 page values. Why is that not loaded? Oh. Nope. Oh, seriously? Debugger is so broken. Thank you for the follows there, it's Becky. Hope I'm well tonight. I'm not the best, to be honest. I've felt better days, but we're getting there. We're getting stuff done, so that's the main thing. There we go. Right. I don't know why our sprite is showing. Oh, he's showing in front of everything. It's fine. this is our screen X and screen Y, and it does seem to be. Oh god, it was when I was there. We go. It does seem to be following the screen around, which is great. It's working. So it's shown us where this top corner is. It's saying it's at 0, 0, 0, 1, so that's fine. That value is correct. That's working. So we know that's fine. Our lookup is grabbing the correct values from screen RAM. So let's stick a breakpoint in here and make sure that it is actually finding the right value underneath there. Oh, actually, we're gonna. Well, where is that? Oh, 900. Okay, let's do it in the debugger so I can turn it on at the right time. Oh, I recognise this music. Okay, so this is our branch instruction here. So let's just get it to a position where we are actually overlapping character like so. Let's put a breakpoint in here. Okay, so Y is 27, which is going to be this character here, and there's nothing there, so we would expect accumulator to be 0, which it is. And we should see that for 4 columns, sorry. Now the next row is this one here. Should also be 0, which it is. And now we should be seeing something different, and we're not seeing it. So what is in 04? 04 says 28A0, so let's go and have a look at 28A0. It seems to be picking the wrong character out for some reason. Let's go back. 28A0, okay. And the Y register is just going up, so that should be 28F1, okay. Yeah, not seeing anything there actually. Let's skip it on to the next row. Oh, it's only done 2 rows, that's why. So maybe we need a 3rd row as well. Okay, fine. So we have 40 to all of these. And change our loop to do, how many was it? 15, okay. I have a feeling this isn't going to work, but it's worth a try anyway. Yeah, still not seeing any border flashing going on at all here. Okay. If that was 0, it would come to here, and it's always finding 0. What we can do, just to make sure it is actually checking the right locations, is do this. I'm going to take a value. Let's just add something to the character set. So I'm going to take this value here. I'm just going to fill it full of one colour like so. And that is character 3. I just want to see where it's actually drawing those things. Oh, see, it's drawing off screen here. It's drawing in the wrong place. Something weird is going on here. screen row LSB, screen row MSB, LSB, MSB. Okay. I don't know why it's drawing only to one side of the screen. What have I done wrong here? Okay, let's get rid of the actual collision check. Let's just do. Every now and again I hear a SID tune break through. I'm not sure what that is. I can't see it very well. It's not. It's kind of half drawing it right, but then it's not doing any. Oh. No, this is correct. This is fine. Oh, do you know why? I'm being stupid. Once we've got the screen address, we need to obviously add the char exit. Otherwise, if we don't add the char exit, we're always going to be at the edge of the screen. There we go. Now it's following us around. Okay, so that's spot on. It looks like we do only need one row, 2 rows, sorry. Okay. Although it's supposedly picking up. It says we're touching there, but we're not. So when we touch, I'm going to change that character here. And turn. Oh yeah, it is working. So it should only ever be colouring in these things and nothing else. It's just obviously we're just setting quite a wide net because we need to mask, so it's picking it up a lot sooner than if we were doing normal collision. I am going to put a 3rd row in. I think we do need that one. If this works, it's going to be a miracle, if I'm honest. No, we'll try. We'll try and get it working tonight. Okay, so we know that works. We know the board don't need to flash the border anymore. So let's just move this sprite. Let's try and get this sprite working properly now. So that should be char Y. Hopefully now this will follow the sprite around a little bit, but only when I'm colliding and stuff. So the moment it thinks I'm colliding, it's going to move that. Okay, cool. And notice how it's level with the character blocks. It's only moving 8 at a time, so that's correct. Now we just need to make it move to exactly the right location. So the location it needs to be at, actually this should be at the top corner of the sprite. It doesn't seem to be. Oh no, it's offsetting. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is we need to adjust these values based on what we're getting in A. But actually Y contains our offset, so Y is char offset. Monty on the run. X is we can sneak this. So Sprite offsets X. And this will be back 8, exactly on forwards 8, forwards 16. I think that's going to be the same for X and Y. Actually, no, it's not. Tables. Whoever said I was going to use tables was very, very correct. This is a good tune. It's probably getting a bit beyond the Dissect stream. This is turning into a game stream now, isn't it? Yeah, tables are a godsend with things. Okay, it's kind of getting there. The problem is now is you get to a certain point. Like for instance here where you're touching 2, it changes, it's not sure where to put it, but you kind of get the idea. Like here it's slightly wrong. Let's look at this one, what's going on here. So as we approach it from this side it's fine. As we exit from this side it's incorrect. Let's put the border flash on, because I think what we need to be doing is the first thing we do is we move that sprite off screen somewhere. And we only put it on if... So can we get it? No, see it is displaying, but now it's out of the screen a bit, so we've also got this value in the accumulator, so I'm going to push that value onto the stack because we're going to use actually no, I'm going to store it in temp. And you know what, it's probably going to be yet another table for this as well. I mean, this is completely useless for anybody. I'm just trying to demonstrate how you would move this mask around dynamically. I'm sure there's a much neater way of doing this. Okay, don't need that anymore. So the value in the accumulator is pointing to one of the positions of the sprite, so one of the characters in the sprite. So I'm just going to create a I'm sure this is not going to work either, but let's do this right. So unfortunately, the way this is laid out means these are quite far down the list, but we can set them up for this anyway. So if it's character 1, it stays where it is. If it's character 2, it needs to go back some. And then nothing for 3, 13, 14. And then same thing. Let's do it 13 then, just can't do anything on the wire yet. No, Wembley's on Saturday, so yeah, really looking forward to it. It's going to be good. Okay, it's kind of working, but you can see there's a carry flag problem, and that's because of this here. So turn that border flashing off as well. Okay, it's kind of working. So the only problem now is if we go down, it starts detecting the next row, which it's actually setting horizontally correct, but we need a char offset Y as well. This remains unchanged, and these go back one. Oh, I love this song. Parasol Stars when you get back. Oh yeah, maybe I'll do that actually. I've been thinking there's a few games I'd really like to play. I was thinking about this Twitter 1000 followers thing. I might actually just make that a 16-hour gaming stream rather than make a game. I fancy doing something different. So I might make it like a Rainbow Islands or a Parasol Star stream or something. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I've got some ideas for games, but I'm a bit concerned I'm piling too much on with the games. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, maybe I will play something when I come back on Saturday night. Yeah, stop piling. Oh, you wouldn't believe it as well. It's crazy. Okay, the only other thing I want to do now is this is setting the position of the mask, but I want to reset the position of the mask here. So before we actually do this loop, so like here maybe, I'm just going to set its X position off screen. So if there isn't any masking to be done, it will move off screen. And hopefully this means we should be able to move in front of things at a certain point as well. Okay. So we are moving in front, but way too late. So we'd need another check there, but it is kind of working. We have a problem when we're touching 2, it doesn't know what to do. So this is where what you would probably do is, instead of just having one mask and moving it around, what you do is you'd look at what characters are underneath the sprite and copy them into a sprite which you then use as the mask. Do we have time for that? Not really. I don't want to go too much longer, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, if you space these out, the only reason that's failing there is because we're touching 2 at the same time. So once I move far enough away from the other, it's fine. This kind of was an experiment to see if it could be done rather than an actual usable thing. Yeah, stop piling. Yeah, definitely. I need to stop putting too much on it. I've really struggled this week. I've been trying to do two of my projects this week, and I've barely managed to do anything on either. I've been so unwell. I've just not managed to do much. So. No. No one knows where I am anyway. Well, kind of. Right, I'm going to go and take a quick break. When I come back, we'll I don't know. We'll have a think about what we can do for the remaining half an hour or hour or so. Alright, I'll be right back, guys. Alright, I'm back. We're in London, it's not that big. Yeah. Yeah, good luck with that one. What's that? It's that little breakdancing guy. God, you really have got every emote under the sun. Play something and chill. Oh yeah, that's an idea actually. Let's just play something for the last hour or so. It was quite an easy topic to cover really, this. Spent most of the time trying to implement some janky masking. Yeah, see, look, it's pretty janky going up as well. I have to put another row in to fix that going down. But you get the idea. I mean, you can use that technique in multiple ways. It's actually used, somebody sent me on Twitter, God, what was it called now? Yeah, this game uses it extensively for masking. I'm trying to find an example of where it's actually being used. BTV for global. Yeah, so it's being used here for masking on these parts. But because it's a static screen, what's probably happening is the main sprite, two sprites, and then every screen will have some sprites hidden behind the scenery. So it works quite well with static screens like this, where you can put, just put them where you need to put them. So one thing I want to do actually, let's do that quickly. I want to show you. So on the game that we're doing at the moment on the Saturday stream. Yeah, there you go. So this actually has a description of the technique. So this is what I actually looked at first. Thank you, Mr. G. Yeah, there you go. To figure out how it works and kind of understand how it works. But yeah, they're using that technique to mask the character behind the bus, even though there's more than 3 colours here. So yeah, I mean, you can use it in lots of different ways. They're using static sprites, so they've got 6 sprites set out here, so that you can walk behind the bus and be masked properly without cutting pieces out. So needs more tables. Okay, what I'm going to quickly do, I'm going to quickly show you the effect I want to go for in our game that we're making on Saturday. So I'm just going to fill most of this in, and then I'm going to cut some pieces out. So what we've got some doors at the end of the level, and the doors you will walk through to the next level. So what I want to try and do is use a kind of dither, like so, with a mask, using this cookie cutter technique to create actually.
Destroy him, my robot.
Oh, I missed what that was. Oh, Zypho. Welcome to the stream, Zypho, and thank you for the host. That was a very quick alert. That just kind of appeared and disappeared very, very quickly. Thank you very much. Welcome to the stream, dude, and everyone that's come along with Zypho. So I want to create a dither mask like this. Basically, its job is going to be to make the characters appear like they're disappearing into into a door. Just trying to figure out how to make this. I'm not the best at graphics, so this is probably going to look terrible, but let's just try it anyway. This should be enough, I think. Okay, let's move that mask into here. Let's get rid of these two. So we'll just have our egg, we'll get rid of the high-res over there. Hi Yellow Belly. I was recommended to host you. Thank you very much. You love a bit of C64, and we all. It's the best 8-bit machine ever, without a doubt. So just explaining some techniques for masking. I'm just going to demonstrate something that I want to do. Okay, I need to get rid of. I'm just going to blank out this piece of code here because I don't want this to run. So I'm just going to stick this jump in the top here. Let's just see what that gives us to begin with. Okay, so there's our mask there. Okay, so I'm going to move that mask over here somewhere, just to the side of this egg. And let me change the background colour again back to black, so I'm going to do that first. Show you why I want to use this effect, because I think it'll look pretty good if we get it right. There is no overlay, so that's fine, I'll leave that as it is. I just want to move the mask to the right a little bit, so let's do it like that. Thanks for the follows, Zofo. Very much appreciated. Hits on host. Okay, so we've got this weird kind of mask thing going on here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to be colour black, and I'm also going to turn its multicolour off as well, so the only multicolour we're going to have is going to be our main egg sprite. There we go. So now you can't see it, but as we move our sprite into its position, you can see it kind of disappearing, sort of. So I want to use that effect as the players walk through the door to make it look like they're disappearing behind the door. Obviously we'll have the door kind of frame around it as well, but it's a nice way to use that mask technique to make it look like they're moving through. Okay, let me undo those changes because I want to keep this so you guys can actually play around with it. So let me undo them in here. There we go. Oh, thank you for the follow, C64. I'm missing my follows. I don't know why they're not appearing. Oh, I've not got my bloody ticker open. There we go. I keep forgetting to keep that open. It does have a good point. C64 is the best 8-bit. Alright, let's just going to make sure this works again, so you guys have got some code to play around with, and then I'll fire up the ultimate and we'll have a go on something. Assuming I can find my joystick. Yeah, cool. Right, that's working again. Right, so we've got some code to push to the repo. Let me just pull my ultimate out a little bit. I do need to plug my joystick in. Let's grab it. What should we play? Any preferences? And if anybody says Airwolf, they should be banned. There we go. hopefully, if I press the right buttons on here, I can remember how to do this now. Okay, so that's on. And then capture. Do we see anything? No, we